Total War Warhammer, the strategy game that came out in 2016, and it is one of the latest installments in the Total War series. The game that combines the best parts of the Total War series and the Warhammer universe. But the question is this: is it worth it to buy Total War Warhammer 1 right now when Total War Warhammer 2 and Total War Warhammer 3 exists? And if yes, why? And if no, why as well? So let's just discuss that. If for some reason you have never played any Total War game in the past, then you probably missed the biggest strategy game series, or at least one of the biggest strategy game series in the history of strategy games. This is the series of games that usually is happening in different historical settings and unites the macro management of an entire empire with all its diplomacy, economy, and other types of management with the micromanaging of an army in a battle. Usually in these games you control thousands of troops at the same time in a glorious battles. So how this actually translates to Total War Warhammer, and is it actually a good game or not? Well, I'm gonna give you a short and straightforward answer. It is an amazing game and is possibly the best Total War game, period. Gameplay loop is usually something like this. You start a game, you choose a faction, and at the moment there are 17 factions available, including the DLC ones, which we're gonna discuss in a bit. Well, choose your faction leader, which is basically your king, and start playing on a campaign map. Campaign map in reality is an alternate version, like some kind of twisted version of our world, and the game is actually happening in a so-called old world, which is in reality Europe and northern parts of Africa. You play the game, you control your troops, you control your economy, you move troops around, you battle for territories, you engage in diplomacy, and when the actual battles will happen, you go into 3D real-time control of your troops and control each and every one of them separately. Or alternatively, you can just press auto-resolve and AI just battles for you and just give you results immediately. Which you shouldn't do. Trust me, don't do auto-resolve in this game. You're gonna miss half of this game, so please don't do that. And this gameplay loop, even though it does not sound very well, if you have played a Total War series in the past, you know that it's an incredibly interesting and rewarding experience. And it's actually pretty different each time you play through the game, even with the same factions. But this time, in this game, the factions are actually uniquely different. In the past, in the historical Total War games, each and every faction were practically the same. The only difference were their actual culture and how they dressed and how they spoke. That was it. They had all same weapons, they all had same armors, maybe different looks, but they were all practically the same. Here, each and every faction is literally unique with their own gameplay mechanics. Let me explain. As an example, Empire plays like a regular human country. You just control an empire, you move around, you conquer the territories, you try to control the territories and just try to quell all the unrest and basically do all the human empire stuff. If you play with the Greenskins, which is basically an orc territories, your entire goal is to have as many battles as possible, because if you don't fight, well, your orcs will just start fighting with each other and you will lose because your orcs need to fight. Dwarves are using different types of unique technologies, and they also have so-called Book of Grudges. Basically, they have an entire book with a list of people who wronged them and the people that they want to destroy. Well, it's that. Vampire counts are completely unique because you actually control the army of vampires, an army of the ghouls and zombies and all kind of undead stuff that you can actually resurrect and raise practically any time during a battle or even on a campaign map if you stumble upon the previous place of battle. You're just basically raising the dead and controlling it. And in order to conquer different territories, you actually need to corrupt these territories first, because you cannot walk on a sun and things like that. It's incredibly interesting, and every single faction plays completely differently. And every single faction have completely different goals. So game is actually amazing, and if none of the other games existed, I would say 100% get this game because it is incredibly fun. But the question is this: why you should get this game when the sequels exist and when the game has such a large DLCs? So let's start with actually DLC discussions. This game has actually some kind of weird and, well, arguably predatory DLC practice. You see, almost none of the DLCs actually add some type of gameplay mechanics, because all those mechanics are actually added for free with the free updates. All those DLCs do, they actually add either the heroes, which are your basically powerful units that have their own personality, their own skill trees that you can upgrade, their own abilities which they can use in a battle, things like that, or the entire factions, like Wood Elves, for example. You can purchase a Wood Elves and play as a Wood Elves through the DLC. And again, the mechanics here will be completely different from anything else. But you see what's the issue here? All of those factions and all of those heroes, they're still in the game. If you are fighting with any other faction, you can encounter and you will encounter this new DLC factions. But if you want to play them yourselves, you have to pay for them. So should you get any DLCs? The answer is no. Don't get any DLCs. And the reason is the sequels. And again, let me explain. You see, the main reason why you should get this game is actually Total War Warhammer 2. When you get Total War Warhammer 2, you are actually playing not in an old world, which is analog of Europe and North Africa. You're playing in a new world. And a new world is some type of analog or parts of, well, new world in our case, which are Americas, and some kind of analog of Atlantis, which is, in this case, is colonized or basically controlled by elves. And Total War Warhammer 2 have their own completely different set of factions because, yeah, the game is actually happening in a completely different place. However, Total War Warhammer 2 has a free DLC called Mortal Empire. So if you get a Mortal Empires, what you will get is a completely new campaign map which unites both old world and its races and the new world and its races in one gigantic map. This is basically a definitive way to play this game. However, there is a catch. If you want to play Mortal Empires, which is free, you actually need to own both games, Total War Warhammer 1 and Total War Warhammer 2. So in any case scenario, if you want a complete Total War experience, you actually need both games. And the same will be the truth for Total War Warhammer 3 as well. The truth is actually this: if you want a complete Total War Warhammer experience, you actually need 100% to own the first game. So if you are tight on a budget and you want to experience this game series in full, why wouldn't you just go and buy a first game, see, experience whether you like it or not, and then invest in a second game which will unite both of these games into one gigantic game? And the same case will go to the Total War Warhammer 3. Am I being clear? I think I am. So the best course of action for you will be just get a first game, see whether you like it or not, and then get a second game if it is worth it to buy, which we'll be discussing in a future video. So in any case scenario, Total War Warhammer 1 is 100% need to buy. And you're not buying DLCs because the 11 factions that are available for free in the game right now is more than enough for you to experience the game to the max and then decide whether you want to get the second game or the third game or not. So what about the pricing? Well, at the moment of recording, there is a sale going on with 75% off, and the Total War Warhammer 1 actually costs $15 for the tier 1 countries, $7.50 for the tier 2 countries. Is it worth it for that price or not? And the answer is, well, absolutely yes. For the sale price, this game is 100% worth it. It would be worth it for the full price as well, if not the second game and the third game. So if you're watching this during any sales on Steam, go and get this game right now, because this game is absolutely worth to get, and you're gonna get far more enjoyment and fun than you will ever pay for this game. So yes, 100% go and get this game. Get the base game. There are a bunch of free DLCs available. Download and use free DLCs. Do not get any paid DLCs for now, and we're gonna discuss the Total War Warhammer 2 in the future video. Well, this will be it. Thanks for being here with me. Like the video if you liked it. Subscribe for more videos like this one. Leave us suggestions in the comments down below if you want me to make some specific videos, and I'm gonna see you in the next one. See ya.